A landscape of diversity with some of the finest scenery in the world, where sun rises through some of its prominent features. Waterfalls cascade thousands of feet and plunges down cliffs and crashes onto its rocky base, throwing up rippling clouds of mist. Turbulent water rushes towards the cliff drop-off. Rainbow appears in the midst of waterfalls. Scattered sunlight mixes with shadow on a group of giant sequoia trees. A flooded valley meadow lies calm. A mountain lake ripples gently under great clouds. A plume of smoke rises far in the distance across the rocky wilderness. Animals roam around and munches grass in a meadow. A mountain dimly reflected in rippling water. Sunlight glistens on water and wet pebbles. Tourists can cross scenic valley roads on foot or on bike. Massive granite cliffs rises high over the valley under a clear blue sky. This incredible land with its granite cliffs, its massive pine forest, and its vibrant meadows was once home to the indigenous people who called it Ahwahnee or the wide mouth, but to most people it's known by another name, Yosemite. Hello everyone, welcome to JustGiji. We are hiking in Yosemite National Park, California. Are you ready for hiking through the glorious granite dome of the Sierras? By the end of this video, you will be more prepared and confident hiking the best trails of Yosemite National Park under 72 hours. We arrived in San Francisco International Airport a couple of days before our visit to Yosemite and explored San Francisco and Napa Valley on our rental car. Then we headed to Yosemite National Park via the scenic highway CA-152 to CA-41 in Oakhurst, Yosemite. We also avoided leaving during commute hours as traffic around the area gets really bad between 8 and 10 a.m. and 4 and 6 p.m. So if you are planning a road trip from San Francisco to Yosemite, try to avoid these commute hours. The total distance was around 200 miles and 4 hours of driving, and incredibly scenic and definitely worth your time. We passed through the Pacheco Pass, a low mountain pass located in the Diablo Range in California. We were going curvy, up and down, and passing by San Luis Reservoir, the water source of the California State Water Project and the Central Valley Project. We pulled over for a few view stops along the way. And if you have extra time, the visitor center nearby is open. You can drop in and take a look at the exhibits and pictures explaining the California Aqueduct project. As we continued on CA-152, then merged into CA-41 in Oakhurst, 14 miles south of the entrance to Yosemite National Park, in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. This town is most prominently known for being one of the gateways to Yosemite National Park with plenty of hotels and restaurants. And we stayed at the beautiful Hampton Inn, Oakhurst. Lodging in Yosemite books up 12 to 13 months in advance, and the campsites are first come first served. So we decided to stay in Oakhurst and drove into the park each day. The drive is very scenic and we really enjoyed our drive. Our first day of hiking started at 4 o'clock in the morning because we wanted to view the sunrise from one of the viewpoints, and also the hike we planned to do could take up to 12 hours. While driving on Highway 41, we saw the first glimpses of the majestic Yosemite Valley. From Oakhurst, we drove 14 miles on Highway 41 to south entrance of Yosemite, then continued on Wawona Road, and after about 45 minutes from the park's south entrance, we passed through the Wawona Tunnel along the Wawona Road State Route 41. We got ourselves ready for an incredible view right as we exit the first viewpoint we came into in the valley. There are two small parking lots on either side of the road. Make sure to get here early as many photographers line up with their tripods to capture the light coming over the granite walls. And it is one of the most popular spots in the park, so it can be hard to find parking. Sunrise is a great time to visit the park as you will be rewarded with fewer crowds. An aerial view of the forest meeting the large granite cliffs. One of the best things to do in Yosemite is to watch the sunrise over the gorgeous natural landscapes, showcasing the immensity of the granite walls that surround Yosemite Valley and providing a classic view of El Capitan, Half Dome, Sentinel Rock, Cathedral Rocks, and Bridal Veil Fall. It is spectacular at sunrise, as the sunrise and brushing El Capitan and giving the image of the top of the El Capitan as if it were on fire, and it's absolutely gorgeous. A sunrise is one of the most impressive sights one can ever witness. One of the best things to do in Yosemite is to watch the sunrise over the gorgeous natural landscapes. With such stunning viewpoints located through the park, you can imagine the magical sights when the sky dances with color. No camera or a photography can capture the actual image. It is absolutely breathtaking. As we continue to Yosemite Valley, which serves up a timeless view, on the left and north side of the valley is the sheer 3,000-foot face of El Capitan and shining with the sunlight along with the highlighted pine, carpeted valley and Merced River. All of the roads in Yosemite National Park are scenic, and these mountain roads are very curvy, so be cautious about it. Even though you could see the most popular spots in distance from the driving by viewpoints, but hiking is one of the best ways to see Yosemite National Park, and there are hikes that are suitable for all levels of hikers. Parking is available at or near most trailheads, and you can park your car for the duration of your hike. Or you can park at the day hikers parking lot near the visitor center and take the free shuttle bus to the trailhead. Public transportation to many areas with Yosemite is available by a combination of free shuttles and fee-based tours. So we took the shuttle bus to the Mist Trailhead, where we started our hike to Half Dome. Half Dome is one of the striking features in Yosemite landscape. It's not only inspired adventurers to climb it and to hike it, but also geologists to study it, and artists to capture its unique beauty on canvas and on films. Half Dome is one of the most difficult day hikes in Yosemite due to its intense elevation gain of over 5,000 feet and length of the trail. It takes most hikers between 10 to 12 hours to hike Half Dome. So we decided to do this on our first day because we need all the energy for this hike. The Mist Trail is one of the most popular hiking trails in Yosemite. You will never be alone on the trail, but it can get very busy, especially the first section. Starting as early as possible will avoid the crowd going up, but you still meet the crowd on your way back. It's end of May, but it's only 30 degrees, and it's really cold, but the rivers and falls are flowing graciously, and it's really beautiful. Let's begin our hike. About a mile of the Mist Trail, we arrived at the Vernal Fall footbridge. Across the bridge at the first overlook, drinking water fountain and bathrooms are available, thanks to the National Park Service for the well-maintained and well-marked trails. We continued walking along the trail and the powerful Merced River on our left. Just be aware of the surprising fact that more people die on the Mist Trail than almost anywhere else in Yosemite. It's not the waterfalls or the cliffs that are the culprits. It's the current. The river here apparently looks much less dangerous than it actually is. Typically, a hiker slips into the water and finds the current too strong to overcome, then gets swept to a regrettable death somewhere downstream. So please be careful when you are near the river. As we get closer to the Vernal Fall, the trail was very wet, so we got to be careful every step of the way. At this point, no railing, and be very cautious at these edges. And we were ready for this as we knew we will get wet, very wet, taking a shower wet, jumping in the ocean wet. So make sure you bring rain gears. You can almost touch the Vernal Fall. That's how close you can get to the fall. There are a surprising number of steps to the top of the falls. Be sure to exercise caution. The mist causes these stairs to be slick and can add some ice if there is a cold snap in the valley. So make sure you wear a hiking shoes with good traction. As we continue on the mist trail up, the trail becomes strenuous, all the way to the top of the Nevada Fall. But nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees, and the winds will blow their own freshness into you and storm their energy. Thus, you will forget the toughness on your body. The mist trail continues along the Merced River, and soon you are met with the sound of another waterfall, Nevada Fall. This towering waterfall crashes down the side of the granite slopes and is so large that it can easily be seen from far away. The air carried a cool breeze around us as we listened to the water crashing against the rocks below. As we continued from here, the trail became much harder than before. The hike just to the top of Nevada Falls is already considered a long, difficult day hike. The trail shortly leveled out to and led into a beautiful forest with massive sequoia trees. The rising sun began to send light over to mountain through these sequoia trees. The forest itself is open and expansive. Something about these forests is so magical and beautiful. Few minutes later, the trail begins a steady climb upward. Gradual switchbacks took us deeper into the woods, and the next 4 miles through the forest, then we will arrive at the subdome. The subdome is the largest granite dome that must be climbed prior to reaching the cables to ascend the main dome of Half Dome. And as we expected, we came to a great challenge: tons of snow. As we continued upward through the snow, of course, we used microspikes. The winter of 2023 brought historic amounts of snowfall to the park. With the heavy amount of snowfall, subdome remained snowy and it wasn't safe to climb the subdome. Also, the half dome cables were down. Thus, we only hiked up to the base of the subdome. The half dome cables are generally put in place after Memorial Day and then taken down after Columbus Day. However, the start date may vary based on snow conditions. Permits to hike to the top of Half Dome are required 7 days per week when the cables are up. Visit JustGiji.com for more information about Half Dome permits. Most visitors have heard of Half Dome cables, but climbing the subdome from the base of the cables is nearly as serious as the cable themselves. The climb is similar to climbing the hundreds of steps of the mist trail, only now the steps are 8,000 feet in elevation, where the air is thinner and the breathing can be harder. If the weather is cooperative, you can continue up the subdome and you will arrive at the cables. This is not for the out of shape people. They are vertical, exposed, and much harder to go down than they are to go up. It requires a mountaineering component at the end, climbing the cables. The half-dome trail route goes up the Mist Trail and down to Clark Point via the John Muir Trail. Due to the heavy winter condition, the John Muir Trail was closed, so we came back down to Yosemite Valley through the Mist Trail. The trail was super busy with everyone going in the opposite direction, so we sure had to exercise caution. Our day 2 also started early in the morning. Today we are going to hike to the top of Upper Yosemite Falls to the Yosemite Point. Yosemite Falls is the tallest waterfall in North America and one of the 10 tallest in the world, which rises 2,425 feet above the valley floor. This is a popular destination in Yosemite Valley for hikers. If you are looking to make it to the top though, be prepared for grueling uphill and downhill to reach the summit, but an amazing view of the valley. This trail starts near Camp 4 along the Valley Loop Trail and immediately begins its climb. From the trailhead sign, walk straight ahead to the first of many switchbacks. These switchbacks helped us gain traction at such a steep pitch and loose soil. There are lots of switchbacks on this trail. I have heard that there are 130 switchbacks. I haven't counted, but it sounds about right. There are a lot of great reasons to hike to the Upper Yosemite Falls to the Yosemite Point. From the trail, the views are magnificent. Right off the bat, the trail puts you to work, and you will pick up 600 feet of elevation over the first 0.6 miles of climbing. This section is heavily shaded by canyon live oaks, which helps stave off heat to some degree. Count those blessings, as future section of the trail won't have that luxury. When we gained more elevation and got above the trees a little, the views start getting a lot better. Great views of Yosemite Valley and its many iconic landforms. Do not stay off the maintained path, as you will find steep drops adjacent to the trail. After about a mile and 1,000 feet climb, we reached the Columbia Rock, which we were rewarded with spectacular views of Yosemite Valley, Half Dome, and Sentinel Rock. From here, it is worth the time and energy to hike another half a mile, some of which is actually downhill. After the downhill, we travel around the mountain and get our first views of Upper Yosemite Falls. The upper half of the trail is steep and rocky, but the difficult climb is well worth and amazing views you will be rewarded with at the top. From there, you will be going along the left side of Yosemite Falls up into the canyon. There are tons more switchbacks here and little shade, so be warned in the summer. Halfway up the climb, we got an amazing view of Yosemite Valley with Half Dome in the distance. And we were close enough to feel the spray and hear the waterfall thundering down the mountain. Once at the top, watch as the falls plummet down the side of the mountain and get a greater sense of just how far you hiked. And after all this climb, we certainly had the energy to continue on to Yosemite Point. Here, you may be surprised by the small size of Yosemite Creek, which feeds this massive waterfall. Use extreme caution when near the creek and remember you are directly above a waterfall. Do not be tempted to wade in the water here. You are literally just feet away from the edge of the falls. One wrong move could be disastrous. If you are exhausted, then you can head back down from here, or you can add 1.5 miles and go on to Yosemite Point. There is a bridge you will use to cross the water, and then the trail goes uphill again. We extended our hike east to Yosemite Point. It adds 1.6-mile round trip. Along the way, we were walking through snow on the way to the top of Yosemite Point. Yosemite Point is an epic spot for a view, so I recommend you do it if you are feeling up to it. But don't push yourself as it is a tough hike down from the falls. Remember, don't underestimate the downhill. Consider carrying a trekking pole if you go for this part. And here we are at the Yosemite Point. And we are going to continue to the right, where we will be rewarded with one of the best views of Half Dome in all of Yosemite National Park. Yosemite Point offers direct views of Half Dome that rival those found on the North Dome Trail. Gives you an opportunity to see Lost Arrow Spire up close. As we climbed up the steep trail to the Yosemite Point and breathed in the mountain air, I came to the realization, I am here. I made it to Yosemite National Park. As John Muir, the father of the national park, said, we were in the mountains, and the mountains were in us. Yosemite Point provides panoramic views of many other peaks. Eagle Peak, part of the Three Brothers Rock Formation, is the highest point of the north rim of Yosemite Valley, which gives you a different perspective of the surrounding granite landscape. To get back to the valley, retrace your steps back down to the trail. It was a strenuous climb to get up here, but it's almost as strenuous to get back down. Those dreaded switchbacks feel almost as difficult going down as they did going up. Day 3. Mirror Lake and Valley Loop Trail. This trail definitely with the best opportunities to catch a glimpse of the wildlife in Yosemite. It has a countless of plants and wildlife through a range of ecosystem. Begins at Lower Yosemite Fall, shuttle stop number 6. Head west along the bicycle path until you see the sign of the Valley Loop Trail. Since it starts from the Lower Yosemite Falls Trail and the trail only a mile long and it takes only about 30 minutes, we hiked the Lower Yosemite Fall before we headed to the Valley Loop Trail. Lower Yosemite Fall is the final 320-foot drop. This paved loop trail offers different vantage points of Yosemite Falls and Yosemite Creek, and you can stop at the many exhibits to learn more about the natural and cultural history of the area. Consider walking the loop in a clockwise direction for best views of Yosemite Falls. The view is magnificent. Look at the waterfall peaks in volume. You can expect to get sprayed with water when standing on the footbridge near its base. This short, easy walk rewards with spectacular views of both upper and lower Yosemite Falls. As we continued on the Yosemite Valley Loop Trail, it follows many of the valley's first east-west trails and wagon routes. It offers a rare opportunity in Yosemite Valley to hike on a fairly level trail with some solitude. While some of the trail passes near roads, much of it takes you through meadows, talus slopes at the base of the granite cliffs and near the Merced River. And the route finding was difficult in places. So it is best to bring a map with you, as it will orient you with the various landforms in the valley, which are often listed on the trail or directional signs. Additionally, we found mixed trail surfaces, dirt, rocks, sand, and old pavement. The trail goes through the Mirror Lake. The lake, fullest with the Tenaya Creek, flowed freely with fresh snowmelt. The water was calm. The lake offered beautiful reflections of surrounding cliffs. Exhibits along the trail tell the story of Mirror Lake's lake to meadow succession and also highlight some of the cultural history of the area. Mirror Lake is often referred to a mirror meadow in late summer due to the lack of water and the influx of grasses and sandy areas. The opposite side of the Mirror Lake is a great spot to take pictures of the Half Dome. Since we did a very hard hikes on the first 2 days, the Yosemite Valley Loop Trail for the third day will be an easy hike to end our visit. However, Yosemite breaks decades-old snowfall record, closing National Park indefinitely, and in the Yosemite Valley, snow accumulation broke a 54-year-old daily record by multiple inches. Officials measured 40 inches of snow in the Yosemite Valley. The historic snowfall in the Sierra Nevada mountain from back-to-back winter storms has closed the world-famous park indefinitely while rangers and park staffers to respond to the epic snowpack. With all that snow melted, some of the trails were closed in Yosemite, but we didn't expect what we experienced in the Valley Loop Trail. So our ferry level trail was almost as harder as the hardest climb we did for the last 2 days, with flooded trails and so many trees were down, which we ended climbing over and under and bushwalking. But that didn't stop us. We decided to hike the full 11.5 miles loop, and we were prepared with the proper gear. Further up the path, the trail disappeared underwater. We had a choice of turning back or climbing up rocks, boulders, and over fallen trees that were built up across the side of a hill. But we continued with the flooded trail and climbed over the rocks to avoid the really flooded areas. Lots of fallen trees in the same stretch, but we enjoyed scrambling through. And after all that hard work, we were rewarded with absolutely stunning views. And yay, we made it! On the way back, it was pretty easy. The average of 5 to 7 hours hike ended about 6 hours. Not bad at all after what we went through. We started at 7 a.m. from Yosemite Village and ended this beautiful trail for about 6 hours. And we literally walked past everything we needed to see, including a mother bear and her 2 cubs at the end of the trail. They were absolutely adorable and playful. We really enjoyed watching them. Every rock formation and its wall in this park seems glow with life, and how fine and reassuring the company they keep. Being one of the most amazing places of the world, Yosemite definitely helps to remind us that beauty exists naturally in the universe. I hope this video will help you navigate the best spots in Yosemite. You could also ask me any questions in the comments section down below, and I will answer them as best as I can. Safe travels! I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. For more videos and for more information, please visit justgiji.com or JustGiji YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.